afternoon, everyone. I'm Lauren, and I am very, very happy to welcome you to this virtual experience. So, as a lot of you know, it is Earth Day today, and together with Oceanário de Lisboa, we want to inspire you to let the outdoors in and go on a great exploration with us. Okay, so before we join our hosts for this virtual experience, we're just going to take care of a couple of logistics. So if you have any questions for any of our presenters or our hosts at any point, you can submit them through the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. We're going to have a Q&A at the end of the experience, and so you'll be able to, we'll answer as many of your questions as we can then. If you don't have any questions, you can also vote up your favorite questions by giving them a thumbs up, and that way we can ask the questions with the most votes first. As a lot of you will have realized, this is a Zoom webinar, so your camera will not be on, but you can use the chat to communicate with your fellow attendees as well as the hosts. So what you can do is you can share where you're joining us from, you can share your reactions during the experience, all by using the chat, and you just make sure that you're sending the messages to all panelists and attendees. If you have any technical difficulties at any point, you can also use the chat to send a message to just all panelists, and we'll try and help you out as soon as possible. If you're having any trouble with audio, often just leaving and rejoining is an easy fix. And then finally, we're going to be recording this experience, and you'll be able to watch all of our great experiences on the Tiqets Facebook page for the rest of this week. And we're going to be sending out the recording of the experiences to all registrants in the coming week. Enough about me. We're going to hand over to Diogo at Oceanário de Lisboa. Diogo, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Lauren. How are you? So welcome to the Oceanario. I'm here in Lisbon, in the biggest aquarium of Portugal, okay? And I will change my camera so you can see the Oceanario. So Oceanario opened in 1998 with the mission to promote knowledge about the ocean and raise awareness for its conservation. Since then, we have received more than 25 million visitors, and we supported several conservation projects around the world, not only in Portugal, but also in Brazil, in Africa, and even in Japan. So public aquariums play a huge role in ocean conservation, such as we are a window to the marine world. Our visitors can see some species that otherwise they cannot, and they connect with them, and they also gain the will to protect them, okay? And as we having some species here, the species here, we can study them, and we also can collect some scientific data to know more about them and to protect them in the wild, okay? So I'm in the access ramp of the Oceanario that lead me to the main entrance of the Oceanario. And at each side, you can see some information, and you can find some information about the conservation project that we have been supported. And this access ramp is full of secrets, because at the beginning of the ramp, we can hear some sounds related to the land activities. But as we approach to the entrance of the Oceanario, we start to hear sounds related to the ocean, such as the waves or even the seagulls, okay? And the building itself, it represents a boat that is ready to depart to a voyage around the world, okay? First by the surface, and then underwater, okay? So please join me in this voyage. And in this voyage, I will talk with some of our aquarists that knows everything about the aquariums, okay? And I'm showing you the huge central aquarium where Anna Freire is waiting for me. Hi, Anna, how are you?
Hello, everyone. I'm okay. Welcome to our aquarium.
So, Anna, we are here in front of the huge central aquarium. How do you describe it?
So this aquarium is like our central piece. And what we want to say here is that we represent the ocean as an open ocean. We want to show that the ocean has no barriers, no frontiers, that it is a unique mass of water that houses a huge amount of biodiversity that we all need to preserve and that we all depend upon.
Anna, you have been working in Oceanario for 4 years. How it feels dive here in the central aquarium?
Yes, I've been working here for 14 years now, and it still amazes me to dive in this aquarium. It's always a unique experience. You can always see some new behaviors. You can always learn something. And that's the most magical part of diving here every day.
And what is your favorite species here?
Well, that's a hard question. I have a lot of favorite ones at this aquarium. I love sharks, but as it is difficult to choose one species, I will probably choose the ocean sunfish. That is a species that amazes me, that it's a very mysterious species, and that you can see right now that it's being fed over there at the surface. Yep.
And what does he eat?
Yes, he's a particular meal. He's a gelatin made with an algae that's called agar. And it's the way that we have just to provide nutrition that is very high on water. This fish needs to drink a lot of water. And so to fulfill these requirements, we do this gelatin with agar, and also with squid, with spinach, with several kinds of fish.
Okay, and I have to do this question. Why do these fishes don't eat each other?
Yes, this is a very large aquarium with a lot of different species. We have the different fish species, the elasmobranchs, rays, sharks. So it's very important for us to maintain a balance. How can they live together? We do this by providing, for example, feeding stations for them. We feed them according to the place that they occupy at the aquarium. So the pelagic species eat in the water column. The bentonic species eats at the bottom of the aquarium. And we have specific places to do this. And we provide food in a way that requires less energy for the animal to get it. So that's why they prefer to get food from us instead of chasing other species to prey them.
So thank you, Anna. If you have some questions to Anna, you can share it in the Q&A box, as Lauren said before, and we will try to answer it later, okay?
Absolutely.
So thank you, Anna. Let's continue our trip. Now I'm going to the Atlantic Ocean, the Atlantic habitat, which represents the Seychelles Island, okay, where lives 3 different species of seabirds. Let me see where they are. Okay. So I can show you them. Okay, out there. I see them. So I try to show it because they are even right there. We have the mule and the razorbill hawk, 2 different species of seabirds. And here I can show you up there. Okay. And there, the Atlantic sea puffin. He has a really bright colored beak. Okay, these 3 species spend most of the time, most of the year at the ocean, and only come ashore in the reproduction season to create and to build their nests. The mule and the Atlantic and the razorbill hawk build their nests in the rocks, and the Atlantic puffin dig it on the ground. Okay, and as they build their nests at the rocks, they have to adapt to avoid the eggs to fall from the rocks. Okay, so they glue the egg with a special substance called guano, which is a mixture of feces and urine, and as it smells really bad, it also keeps the predators away of the eggs. Okay, so a clever adaptation. And one of them is diving. Let me check if he isn't shy and reveal. Oh, there. I will try. Maybe here I can show them a little bit. Okay, they're riding what happened with wild animals. They are a little bit shy. So now I'm going to south to a frozen world, almost frozen world, to talk with Pedro, who knows everything about Magellanic penguins. So I'm going to the Falkland Island, I would say. I have Pedro here.
Hi,
Hi,
Diogo.
Pedro, how are you? So, Pedro, you have a special relationship with these penguins, the Magellanic penguins. How do you describe them?
Well, they live in the colony. They are used to it. They are not that friendly with us, but they are used to our presence. And it's a great work to do.
And he lives in cold water. Okay, they live in cold water. And how are they adapt to it?
They are very well adapted. Their feathers protect them from the colds. So they have a skeleton that is solid, so they can dive. And their wings are no longer wings. They serve them to swim.
And what do they eat?
In Oceanario, we offer three varieties of fish. Each of them have their preferences. So that's one of the challenges that we have every day, is to figure out what fish they want to eat. And that's it.
And in different seasons, they are in different spots in the here habitat. Why so?
Well, during the winter, they take profit from the tank. But during the spring and the summer, they are in the breeding season. So they stay in the nests more often. They have to build their nests. We only provide them the raw materials. So there are different dynamics during the year.
And do they born here?
Yeah, almost all of, not all of the colony, of course, but a very large number of these penguins already born in Lisbon.
And can you describe the process, how they born here?
Well, the parents need to take care of the chick first. They need to take care of the egg during 42 days. Then they take care of the chick during about 8 weeks. Then they are released on the exhibition and start their living.
And Pedro, I know that you know exactly who is who.
Yeah.
How can you do that?
Well, they have tags on the wings with colors that help us to identify each one of them. But they have different behaviors, and even the face, if you permit me to say, they have a different look, a different approach during the feeding. So for someone that works with them every day, it's getting easier to identify each one of them.
And we have another species here.
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, there are Inca terns, Larosperna Inca. They are the other birds on the exhibition, and they are very curious. They sometimes bullying the penguins for the food. They have a great flying capacity, so it's a great combination.
And Pedro, I have to ask this to you. Why the penguins are black on the back and white on the belly?
It's a type of camouflage. It protects them from predators in the ocean. If you consider to see the penguins from the air or from upper the water column, you will see the dark of their backs, and they will very easily mistaken with the bottom. In reverse, if you see them from bottom of the ocean, the white of the chest will be very easily mistaken with the surface of the water. So it keeps them a little bit more protected.
Okay, so Pedro, thank you again. Please
thank
stay
you.
with us to answer the questions if we
Okay.
have some at the
Pleasure.
end, okay?
See you later.
See you later. So let's continue our trip, our voyage. So if you notice, we are heading anti-clockwise direction. So that is why we are returning back in time till the orange of life that began in the ocean, okay? It's a secret of the Oceanario architecture, okay? Now I'm entering in the Pacific habitat, which represents the Monterey Bay in California. I will talk with Anna about one of the most iconic species here at the Oceanario, the sea otters. Hi, Anna.
Hi.
So, Hannah, can you introduce the sea otters to us?
Here we have four sea otters, 2 miles and 2 miles.
Sorry, and I think you are with your microphone turned off.
Now,
Yes, it's perfect right now. So,
sorry. Hi, everyone.
So, so Anna, can you introduce the sea otter to us?
Yes, here we have four sea otters, 2 miles, as you can see, Odi and Kazi. Now they're playing with toys, and also two females, Mare and Mikas. Now they sleep in our back area, so it's difficult to see them.
Okay. And
Mare and Mikas are our oldest sea otters. Mare is almost 23 years old and Mika almost 20 years old. But Odi and Kazi are our sea otters juveniles. This Kazi is almost 3 years old. And Odi is almost 3 years and a half.
and Anna, why do you give toys to the sea otters?
It's very important give toys and also other enrichment to them, like ice treats, huge cubes with ice and food, hide food, to maintain our sea otters mentally active. So we give a lot of enrichment during all the day.
And sea otters live in cold waters as well as the penguins. How they are adapt to it?
Yes, they need to keep their body temperature stable. So they, as you see, Odi, is playing, but also grooming. So grooming is to take care of the fur, drying the fur for to maintaining the body temperature. Because these marine mammals don't have a fat layer, so they are unique. Don't have a huge fat layer, but have a huge density of air.
Okay. And what about food? What do they eat and what amount do they eat? How much do they eat?
So they eat a lot. They eat 5 times per day. And Odi and Kazi eat almost 5 kilos per day. So it's almost 17% of their body weight.
And what do they eat? What is their favorite fish?
They eat a lot of fish, but also crabs and shrimps. And the crabs maybe it's a favorite food. Mussels, octopus, cuttlefish, a lot of fish.
And do they born here or no?
Mare and Mikas, yes, the females. Mare and Mika, their parents are Amália and Eusébio, the first sea otters of Oceanário de Lisboa. But Odi and Kazi were born in Alaska. They are found alone in poor conditions without their mothers in Alaska. So Alaska Sea Life Center is a rescue center that rescued these sea otters and take care of these sea otters.
And why do these sea otters cannot be released into the wild again?
Because they are marine mammals, they are mammals, so they need the mother in the first year of life to learn the basics like hunt and grooming, take care of the fur. So they are found alone with their mother, so they don't learn the basics, so it's impossible to survive in the wild.
Okay, nice. And Anna, I know that there is some funny stories about sea otters here at Oceanario. And for instance, Marais was very active when she was young. Okay, can you tell us some funny stories about?
It's true. It's true. Marais like to copy the divers. When divers cleaning the acrylics with a sponge, Marais really like to copy the divers, but with a shell. So scratch all the acrylic at the same time.
And why? Well, what is for the yellow bucket there? What is inside it?
After every meal, we put there ice cubes. The ice cubes are very important to them because it's the way that we give fresh water. Because we give frozen food, so the ice cubes is a good way to that. And also for enrichment and cleaning the teeth, so it's very important.
Okay, Anna. So thank you, Anna. Please stay with us because we can have some questions at the end, okay? So,
okay. Thank you.
See you soon. Let's continue our voyage. Now we are heading to a warmer place, a tropical beach, I would say, in the Indian Ocean. Okay. So right now I'm entering in the Seychelles Island, where we have two different ecosystems: the tropical rainforest, the land ecosystem with more biodiversity here, and the coral reefs, where 1/4 of the all fish species lives in the ocean, okay? And as you can see, we have a lot of colors, a lot of shapes, different species of fish, even some movie stars. I will dive underwater, of course, outside of the aquarium, to show you some species of this Indian Ocean, okay? So let's continue. So now we are going to the first level of the Oceanario, the underwater level. As you can see, it's darker here because underwater we have less sunlight. So that is why the first level of the Oceanario is darker and we have no lights, okay? And we are again at Central Aquarium, a huge Central Aquarium. There is the sunfish, the biggest bony fish in the world, okay? And the Sandbar Shark. So as Anna said, we represent here the global ocean, the all oceans in one. So we have here species from all the oceans. So some reef species, such as this black tip reef shark, and some coastal fishes, such as the sunfish, the manta ray there, with the sunfish musculosa, okay? I continue, and then I'm going to the Indian Gallery, where we have several aquariums with several tropical fishes, okay? And some movie stars as well. here, the aquarium of movie stars. Here. You probably know this species. This is the clown anemone fish who lives in the anemone, okay? Anemone is an animal, okay, and has some poison in their tentacles, stinky cells in their tentacles. But the clownfish, as it touches in the anemone tentacles, he produces a substance, a mucus that protects him for the venom in the anemone tentacles. So he can hide from the predators in the tentacle, between the tentacles of the anemone. And as the predators don't have this substance, this protection, they cannot go to between the tentacles of the anemone. And anemone also wins something with that, because the anemone feeds of the leftovers of the clown anemone fish. Okay, and we have here another movie star, Dory, the surgeon fish. And why surgeon fish? Because she have, yes, Nemo and Dory, because these fish have two blades near the caudal fin, like a surgeon, okay? So that's why it's called surgeon fish. And there is another funny adaptation here in the clown anemone fish, because in a group of these clownfish, there is only one female. And when the female dies, the bigger male transforms into a female, okay? So let's see other fishes here in the main aquarium. And as I said before, we have here a lot of colors, a lot of shapes, funny names: the unicorn fish, the angel fish, the bat fish, butterfly fish as well. Here, a unicorn fish. Okay, and one of the most iconic tropical fishes, the puffer fish. Okay, of course, and he is not inflate now, not like a balloon, okay, because he only inflate when he feels threatened or stressed, okay. So what he do is he swallow a lot of water and increase their body size, like a balloon or like a ball, okay. And this way he cannot fit in the mouth of the predators, so the predators run away. And also its color, it's this bright yellow. It indicates to the predator that he is poisoned, so it's better to keep away from him. Okay, now I'm going to talk with Elsa. She knows everything about corals.
Hi, everybody.
Elsa, do you have your microphone on?
No, now it is on.
Now I can listen. So, Elsa, what is a coral?
Well, coral is an animal. I know that people that don't know corals looks to them and they seem like plants or flowers or something, not an animal, but they are animals because they need to eat food. So they need to get food from the outside to grow and for them to have metabolism. They have a small tentacles that at night come outside to capture the plankton from the water. But the most important nutritional effort it's made by a small, tiny like a microalgae that live in their tissues that do the photosynthesis because they are small plants, and the products of the photosynthesis feeds the coral. So they are highly dependent on light because they need that those microalgae do the photosynthesis, and they need the light. As Diogo said before, and you can see in this aquarium, the coral reefs are one of the most important, or the areas, the ecosystems that have the high biodiversity. Like 25% of all the species live among the coral reefs. And the coral reefs only represents about 0.1% of the whole marine area. But they are very, very important. As you can see here, we have a lot of fishes, but we have a lot of beautiful, of colorful and different shapes corals that makes this ecosystem so complex that all the species can find food, shelter here, a place to have the babies where they can be safe from the predators. And it's a very complex ecosystem, and they are very, very important to our oceans.
And how do they form these reefs?
Well, corals, there are two different types of corals, okay? There are the soft corals and the hard corals, which means that they have a different type of skeleton. The soft corals have a tiny, bony structures inside, and when they are really, really soft. But hard corals have a skeleton like we have, well structured, that is as the corals are growing, the dead skeleton starts to become part of the what we call the life rock, and through the millions of years that they developed, they build those complex architectural structure from coral reefs. Because of the calcium carbonates that it's always deposit in their skeletons and in the rocks after that. So they made this very strange structure.
And these coral reefs are also important to us humans. Why?
Well, they are very important because in the areas, the coral reefs mainly exist in the tropical areas. They are tropical species. So people that live on those islands and near the coral reefs depend on the species for their nutrition, to survive, also to fish for like economical income for those populations, and also as a tourist, which again, tourism, which again, it's important for their income. And the destruction, and if these areas disappear, those populations will also disappear, because then they will not have nothing to eat or money to get. So,
and as you said, these coral reefs are the most endangered habitats in the world.
Yes, they are. They are
Yes.
the most endangered because of the climate changes, the increase in temperature and the increase in CO2 are having very deadly effects on the coral reefs, because the increase of CO2 creates the acidification of the water, and the increase in temperature also affects those microalgae that lives inside the coral. So they die, and the corals will die after that. So there are places around the world, like the big Great Barrier Reef in Australia. It's around 30% of their corals have died. So it's 30% coral. The Great Barrier Reef, it's the biggest, one of the biggest reefs in the world. So you can imagine when they lost 30% of their corals, the impact that loss have in the ocean and in the populations.
That is why it's very important to understand how
they reproduce? Yes, yes. Yes, corals are very interesting because they can reproduce asexually, which means that we can take a piece of a coral, put it in another place, and it will grow again. Or they can reproduce sexually by releasing gametes to the water, which is the best or the way that they have to survive, because they are different genetic with sexually reproduction. They can be higher with a higher genetic income to survive also to this to the climate changes. So this is really important. And it's something that in mainly the hard corals happens once a year. So you can imagine if the gametes release the gamete spawning only happens once a year, the chances of corals to reproduce are only once per year. So it means that they can be critically endangered.
So Elsa, now the difficult question.
Yes.
What is your favorite tropical fish species?
Fish?
Fish.
Fish, not corals.
Okay, coral.
It's difficult. Corals are so different. They are also magnific because I really love corals. They are really complex animals, which is quite interesting. I really do love corals, so I think they are my best, my favorite.
Thank you, Elsa.
Very well.
Join us.
Okay.
Because now we will answer the questions that we have from our.
Thank you very much, Diogo and team. I think when you're all together, then we'll start doing a couple of questions. We've gathered up quite a few questions while you've done the experience, so I'm looking forward to getting through some of them. Diogo, where are you planning on taking the questions?
Okay, I'm here at the Central Aquarium. I think it's the best place to answer the questions. Okay.
Great. All right. So our first question that everyone would really like to know the answer to is, can people pet the otters?
No, sorry, but not. We don't pet the otters. We train the otters and we have a very close relation with them, but they are not pets, so we do not allow that, I'm afraid.
Excellent answer. Our next question is about the sunfish. So Luis would like to know how long a sunfish can live in captivity.
So our knowledge now is over 6 years. This is a very mysterious species. We are still learning a lot about how to keep them. So the record is not very long if you compare with other species, but we are still learning, and it's quite impressive, this 6 years knowledge.
Okay, that's really interesting. Someone would like to know which animals are the friendliest to visitors.
Well, maybe
the best to answer.
Well, I'll try to answer that. I believe that should be the otters also. We don't pet them, but they interact with the visitors. They are curious, so they react if you talk to them, if you approach a little bit, if you say something, they react, they respond. And so I believe that through that response, they could be the more interactive species that we have here.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Someone would also like to know which plushy toy animals sell the most at the gift shop. I'm going to guess the otters, but I'm sure that there's a correct answer out there.
I think that one is for Sarah. Oh yeah, all the sharks.
Ah, okay.
Shark and otters.
Perfect. Christine would like to know what I think this was about the penguins. What are the fins for on the penguins? This is also, the question is from a second grade school class. So the grade 2 class somewhere would like to know what the fins are for on penguins, I think.
Okay, I will talk to Pedro. Pedro, para que é que servem as barbatanas nos pinguins? Okay. Okay. I don't know if you hear Pedro. Can you
I
hear
don't think
Pedro?
we can hear him. Pedro, you might need to unmute. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
No.
So can you tell us how or what the fins are for on penguins?
Okay. Actually, the fins are the wings of the penguins, and they use the wings to like a fin, like to swim.
Okay, thank you. Anne-Marie would like to know if the aquarium or if Oceanario offers any special small tours or learning experiences with the octopus.
Well, we have a species of octopus here, the giant Pacific octopus, and of course, in all of our guide tours and all of our tours for schools, we talk about it. Okay, and then, yes, and actually, in some of our school tours, we have a story about the octopus. Okay, about the shark. Who wants to be an octopus? It's quite funny, actually.
Okay. We have another question for Pedro about the penguins. How do the male penguins attract the female penguins? Do they dance?
No, they don't dance, but they take some materials to the nest to convince the females that they are the best partner, so to speak.
Okay. Then we also had a question. I think there actually might have been, I'm not sure about this. This one's for, I think, Anna, about the otters. Are there only female otters? And do you have any male otters at Oceanario?
Hi. No, we have 2 females and 2 males.
Okay.
The females are Marine Mikas and the males are Odi and Kazi.
And those are the 2 that we're playing, right?
Yes, right. That's it.
Okay, we're going to go to our next question, and it's an interesting one. Someone would like to know whether or not you celebrate the animals' birthdays. Do they get special gifts? And I don't know if you want to start with the otters, and then we can work our way around.
Well, yes, maybe I can take that one. Yeah, we do celebrate. We don't give them special gifts every time, but we celebrate, and for that reason, we have a special birthday coming up very soon. Our female otter, the oldest one, will be 23 years old on the next 2 of May, and we plan to celebrate and to communicate about that.
Would you give her a gift? And if so, what would it be?
Well, perhaps a very special ice treat.
Okay.
With her preferred meal, like shrimp, for instance, or crab that she really loves.
We also have a question from another anonymous attendee asking when your next temporary exhibition is so that they can plan a visit.
Actually, we don't know. We have two temporary. Yeah, we have 2 temporary exhibitions right now: the Forests Underwater and the One Ocean exhibition. And we are not planning to substitute that or to remove that temporary exhibition.
Okay, that's good. We have another question. Anne-Marie would like to know what the best locations in Portugal are to see an octopus in the wild, and if you can see them snorkeling or only scuba diving. We have an octopus fan among us. I'm not sure who the best person would be to answer. And if you are answering, you might be on mute.
Yes. Okay, I'm sorry. I was saying that octopus is a very common species in our coast. So there are different places that you can actually see them. And if you are lucky enough, you can see them while snorkeling. We have at the Algarve, for example, near rocky shores, every place that we have with rocks, with intertidal coasts that allows you to exceed the water through those rocks. If you are paying attention, you might look and see an octopus is quite common here. You have to know that they like to be hidden in holes and in caves. So you might have a pick on those holes to try to look at them and to observe them.
Okay. We have one last, I think, quite serious question that I would really like to get your answers on as well. Anne-Marie has asked if one of you could speak about the hazards and the dangers of using plastics and how that can affect our oceans.
Okay, plastic is one of the major threat to the ocean, because every year 13 tons of plastic end up in the water, are dumped in the water, in the ocean. So, and it's a threat because fish can eat it, can be trapped in it, like in the ghost fishing nets, or can be injured by the plastics, and that's why we have to reduce and refuse to use plastic. Okay, and we can play a huge role by ourselves to remove that threat to the ocean. Okay, so we right now know that there is two plastic pets in the ocean, one in the Pacific and one in the Atlantic, and 80% of that plastic comes from the land activities. So we are I think the major threat to the ocean. Okay, so yes, we have to refuse, we have to reduce, we have to recycle as well plastic.
A very, very good message to end on, Diogo. I think that's pretty much all we've got time for. We've had some great questions from the audience. Thank you very, very much to you and your team for joining us and for showing us around Oceanario. It was really, really lovely. And thank you to everyone for joining us for this virtual experience. And for those of you who've joined us for earlier experiences during the day, thank you very, very much. And we have a couple more this evening. Please do join us for more great explorations, virtual great explorations. And we look forward to seeing you all in person soon. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.